This episode of Rick and Rick Rule the World is brought to you by Taskin, the first name in premium quality travel gear, with slim, stylish gear like the Taskin Edge professional laptop backpack for business and travel. Save 30% on your next purchase when you use promo code RNR TAKE 30 at TaskinSF.com. Next up on an all-new Rick and Rick.
Netflix finds itself with a three-body problem.
Holy copycat crimes, Batman! The wicked similarities between the trailers for The Batman and David Fincher's classic Se7en.
The Matrix 4 is reshaping reality in 2022, but without Agent Smith or Morpheus.
Oh man, plus the summer movie season that wasn't, loaded questions, and a whole lot more.
And it all starts right here, right now.
On the one show where everybody puts chicks before Ricks.
And everybody rules the world.
Hey everybody, welcome to an all-new episode of Rick and Rick Rule the World. I'm Rick Matheson, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend, Rick Wooten. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great. So today is a little bit of a dichotomy. So on one hand, it is 108 degrees outside today, which is terrible down here in the South Bay. Fortunately, I do have an air conditioner, but it is blazing hot. But more exciting news is a game that I have been waiting to come out for a very long time came out today and arrived in my mailbox. Ooh. And that is the new Tony Hawk video game. It's actually a remaster of the first two games he made way back in the late 90s and updated with current graphics. And I got the special edition with his skateboard. I think it's signed by him or maybe printed his signature on it. I'm very, very stoked.
Good. Now, it did come with full body padding and a helmet, I hope.
It didn't. But, so here's the thing. So years ago, like maybe about 10 years ago, he came out with a version that had a plastic skateboard, like a video game came with a plastic skateboard, had sensors on it. And so as you tilted and rocked the skateboard back and forth, you moved in the game as well.
Oh, cool.
Had little sensors on the side. So if you put your hand on it, it would detect that and it would do a grab. That was the one that needed the pads. I can't tell you how many times I fell off that and, bumped into a dresser or whatever. It was a mess. It was a hot mess.
That's pretty cool. Now, is this something that's going to be like all-time collector's edition? I mean, are you going to be able to sell that for $1 million in 20 years or something? It's a limited edition, right?
Yeah, I think so. But, I grew up as a skateboarder, so I just have a real soft spot for Tony Hawk in the video games. I grew up playing them. The soundtrack on it is like a time capsule. It's amazing. So, yeah, I'm digging it.
Super cool. Well, what I'm not digging quite as much for my week this past week, you probably heard about the pilots flying into LAX, getting all miffed about the guy in the jetpack flying around at 3,000 feet, zooming past the jet airlines. Well, it wasn't me this time. I swear. I spent the week just sweating bullets, Rick. I mean, I was thinking, there's going to be a knock at the door any minute, and nobody needs that. I mean, that is a lesson I do not need to learn a fourth time. So, without further ado, we have a massively multifaceted two-man look at marketing, media, tech, and pop culture for our listeners today. And it all starts with a little something we like to call Rick and Rick Radar Love. First up, Netflix has a three-body problem. Is this like the three-chin problem? Are the aliens one-upping us with something? What is this?
Yeah, so this is something I'm kind of excited about. So some of the showrunners from Game of Thrones is working on a new series with Netflix called The Three Body Problem. And I kept wondering, like, what is that about? What is the name about? And the three body problem is, three celestial objects interacting with one another. That's what the three body problem is. It'd be like the moon, the sun, the earth, that sort of thing. But anyway, so it's a brand new sci-fi series. It's based on some novels with the same name. I've read just a little bit about it. They've just teased enough about it to get me interested in it. But it looks like that we may have another show to kind of suck us in.
Yeah, and that is from a series. I think there are at least 3 in this series so far, maybe more. Did you see anything about budget for this? Because that's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit about it. They talked about maybe some of the cost running potentially through the whole series running close to $1 billion, which is just an astronomical figure given how
Pardon the
expensive,
pun.
yeah, given how expensive Game of Thrones is, and they're trying to create something with the same caliber. I mean, it could be. I mean, you could be talking millions of dollars per episode.
Well, probably a good move from Netflix and, a bankable team. Worth the investment to give it a shot. What also is definitely worth the shot is Matrix 4. I hate the fact that we got to wait till 2022 at the earliest, really, for Matrix 4. But now you're telling me that there ain't no Agent Smith or Morpheus?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the Matrix 4, but I was really bummed to hear that both Agent Smith and Morpheus were not going to be included. I guess Hugo Weaving, who plays Agent Smith, was having some scheduling issues. He does this stuff on Broadway, and so uh, the kind of the schedules didn't line up, and Lana decided to just kind of skip it, and so he's not going to be in there. And so it would be kind of interesting to see how that happens. I saw some rumors that maybe what they're going to do is just get a different actor that
Yeah.
will be younger and kind of play it. But the one that really surprised me is that Lawrence Fishburne
Yeah.
is playing Morpheus, is not going to be in it at all. I mean, he's such
Yeah.
a pivotal part of the first three movies. I was a little stunned about that, and I suppose that could be explained by just the story taking a different direction. But his comment was, I wasn't even invited. I wasn't even requisitioned to be part of the movie,
Huh.
which is a little disappointing, I gotta say.
God, when was the first? So we're talking 1999 was the
1999.
first one. Yeah. So
Yeah,
over 20 years. Wow.
yeah.
Now, please tell me that they're going to pretend that Matrix 2 and 3 just didn't happen.
I think those movies had potential. I think that they got a little sideways, but I wouldn't remove them from canon.
I would have rather have seen them just go to a completely different group of characters discovering they live in the Matrix than take the thread that they took there. They were never going to beat the first one. That was just a masterpiece. But the other two, I just did not care. I think I only watched them once in the movies and
Yeah.
never needed to see them again.
And I think we might have talked about this one time. In between The Matrix and The Matrix 2, a DVD came out called I think it was a DVD, it may have been VHS, it was so old, called The
Oh
Animatrix.
yeah,
And it
loved
was a
it.
bunch of short stories told by different people, different animation styles, the whole thing. It was fantastic. To me, that really should have been kind of the
Yeah.
next direction they went, just, something that was a very dramatic departure.
Yeah, I don't remember how long that was, but it was superior to the second movies, and it showed that it could have been a great, talk about a Netflix series with $1 billion budget. That would be really cool if it was like that, more anthology style, where we met, and maybe it's anthology style with them all meeting up together toward the end and teaming up to stop the
Yeah.
Matrix. There, it could have been super cool.
It's going to be interesting to see how what the new take on this is going to be, because I mean, it's been 20 years since the Major came out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, things have moved on. Certainly the special effects were a big part of it, but then the storytelling itself was also very compelling.
yeah.
And at the time, there were a lot of stories that were kind of in that same vein. You and I both talked about the 13th
Oh
floor. We
yeah.
talked about the Matrix, this idea of living in a world within a world, where we're all in this virtual representation. And so that really connected with people at the time. It would be interesting to see how they move that forward, because the social discussions going on today are a little bit different than that. And it would be interesting to see how they're going to latch on to the current society, and talking about what matters to us today.
In fact, I want to say that I read somewhere that Lana, or one of the sisters, said that the original movies were an allegory for the trials of transgender folks. I did not pick up on that. I took the movie as a wild exploration of religious and philosophical frameworks for existence. And maybe I just answered my own question. Maybe that's what they were seeing it just from that particular lens of gender dysmorphia.
It's kind of like a piece of fine art. If you go into a museum, and you stare and you look at a piece of fine art, it could mean one thing to one person, another thing to another person, and to a certain extent it's left to the audience to interpret.
Yeah.
I do wonder if the Matrix isn't like that a bit. I will tell you, I saw some interviews recently with people that were actors from the movie, and none of them had any idea that was the case, and they acted in the movie as well. So I think if there were undertones, it wasn't very evident to most people. But if it helped Lana and it helped her sister move through the challenges they were having, I mean, kudos to them. I still love the movie. I think it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, I loved that movie. And, even a simple nod, I think if they wanted to drive it home, is there was no reason any of the real world characters couldn't become different genders in world.
Yeah, the Wachowski sisters also did a show called Sense8.
Oh,
I don't know
right.
if you saw that. I watched that on Netflix. It was good as well. But that one to me seemed much more like a transgender allegory than The
Definitely.
Matrix did. So it was a little more overt.
If I remember it correctly, and I only saw 1 or 2 episodes, but it was 8 different people around the world who were experiencing each other's complete sensation and consciousness. I don't know if they phased on purpose to one another's existence or if one-on-one were connected. I don't remember, but that's a lot more overt because people were literally the experience of another person, even on the other side of the
Right.
world. Now, everyone wants to experience the other side of the break that we're going to take right now, because it's going to be time for the good, the bad, and the marketing. And first up, we're going to be talking about that Batman trailer that bears a striking resemblance to the trailer to David Fincher's classic neo-noir action thriller, Se7en. So stay tuned. Rick Nation, don't forget to check out our website at rickandrick.com. It's double the Rick in just one click at rickandrick.com. Welcome back to Rick and Rick Rule the World. This is Rick Matheson with Rick Wooten, and it's time for the good, the bad, and the marketing. So last episode, we were talking about the Batman trailer that came out, Matt Reeves' big superhero debut with Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and Batman. And it looks super cool, but what somebody noticed that the trailer actually is pretty close. I mean, beat for beat, scene for scene, almost identical to the trailer for David Fincher's, what was it, 1995 neo-noir action thriller. I don't know what you call it, psychological thriller, Se7en. And it's pretty close. Not exact. There's not every frame is exact, but I took this as not a ripoff at all, but an homage to that movie, and really a good shorthand for communicating the feel and vibe of what the Batman will be.
Once you see it, it's hard to unsee it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of parallels. It definitely has a very similar feeling. It's and we talked about this on the last show. I think I said, there've been a lot of Batman movies that were dark, but this one is also gritty.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where you see some of the influence of Se7en in this, and kind of the parallels. But I mean, when you go scene by scene, it is pretty surprising how many scenes in the trailer kind of lined up.
I saw this in Engadget. HBO was doing something interesting to promote its show Lovecraft Country in the form of 3 different virtual reality events called Lovecraft Country Sanctum. I have not watched the show yet, but my understanding is it's kind of a horror drama series about this young black guy who travels across segregated 1950s US in search of his missing father, and he has to deal with sort of the terror of Jim Crow America, as well as these sort of horrifying Lovecraftian monsters. So for these experiential promotions, it's 100 influencers. They're going to be invited to experience these events via Oculus Quest headset, while fans will be able to watch and interact over a YouTube live stream. It's going to be like theater and escape rooms and something that they're calling Afrofuturist art installations, puzzles, and a live concert, according to a statement that was in Engadget. Influencers will be able to talk to each other through the VR headsets. It's going to be a shared virtual environment from who knows. These people can be anywhere around the world.
That's awesome.
And they'll be able to talk and interact with each other. And then those watching the YouTube live stream will also be able to interact in real time and take part in solving riddles and triggering spells that directly impact the experience. So
yeah, I watched the I don't know, trailer video, whatever, on the site that you sent. Oh my God, this looks amazing. And
yeah.
this is the kind of stuff that we've kind of been waiting for, is somebody to fully take advantage of things like the Quest, where you can have a community, we can have large scale environments, and that's what they're doing here. Quality's a little low. I was a little disappointed with that, but overall, I love the idea. And I saw what you meant about kind of the escape room kind of idea, and I don't know. I think this is fantastic. I hope that once the main event is over, they open this up for the rest of us who have the VR headsets to come in and try it out.
HBO don't know how to do things wrong, when it comes to experiential, and this will probably be groundbreaking. This VR experience.
HBO, you got to get us in there.
Yes.
Rick and I want to experience this.
That's right.
Definitely we'll definitely talk your praises.
What else we will be talking about is a bunch of loaded questions, which are coming up after this next break. This episode of Rick and Rick Rule the World is brought to you by Taskin, the first name in premium quality travel gear with slim, stylish gear like the Taskin Edge professional laptop backpack for business and travel. Save 30% on your next purchase when you use promo code RNR TAKE 30 at taskinsf.com. Welcome back to Rick and Rick Rule the World. This is Rick Matheson with Rick Wooten, and it's time to play Loaded Questions. Question number 1 this week. PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, is upset with Elon Musk, A, because who isn't, B, for sending monkeys up into space to retrieve the sunglasses he left in the visor of Starman's Roadster, C, for testing Neuralink on pigs, or D, all of the above. PETA is upset with Elon Musk because of what?
I want to say all of the above, but I think it was testing the Neuralink on pigs.
You are correct. So according to Futurism, Elon Musk is in hot water with PETA after his big Neuralink event this past week. Now, all told, the announcement that he's been testing the Neuralink brain implant interface on live pigs seemed about as well thought out as smashing a metal ball through Cybertruck's windows to prove they're bulletproof. Question 2. U.S. ad spending for full year 2020 is expected to A, get Instagram famous, B, launch a GoFundMe page, C, rise 8% from 2019 thanks wholly to increased spend in digital, or D, decline 8%. U.S. ad spending for full year 2020 is expected to do what?
I'm thinking it's going to decrease 8%.
You are correct. Our Media Post is reporting that an IAB survey of buy-side executives finds that U.S. ad spend for full year 2020 is expected to decline 8% versus 2019, but digital ad spend will actually expand 6%. Okay, final question. Which of the following is officially 2020's summer box office champion? A, Marvel's New Mutants, B, Tenet, C, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, or D, Bill and Ted Get Faced? Which of these appears to be the summer 2020 box office champ?
I don't think it's Bill and Ted, so I'm going to guess Tenet.
You are correct. I believe you've gotten all the answers this time, so awesome.
I did.
According to Box Office Mojo, Warner Brothers' Tenet is the #1 movie of summer 2020, and apparently it did okay given the circumstances. It made $20 million in the domestic box office and roughly $150 million worldwide. Now, in normal times, by comparison, Christopher Nolan movie will open between 53 million to 63 million domestically and go up from there. So it's a far cry from that, but I did not expect it to do $20 million in its opening weekend. So there are signs of life at the Cineplex. Well, look at the time here, folks. We got to make like French bread and baguette. Rick Wooten, give us your Twitter handle.
My Twitter handle is @Wooten, WOOTTEN. And how about yourself?
I'm at Rick Matheson. You can also reach the two of us on Twitter at Rick and Rick Rule, on Facebook at Rick and Rick Rule the World, and on the web at rickandrick.com. And if you're digging Rick and Rick, be sure to subscribe to the show. And while you are at it, do us a big solid and give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It helps others find the show, and I think it qualifies for at least one good deed for the day, right, Rick?
Absolutely.
All right. Stay safe, everybody, and be sure to keep on coming back to the one show where everybody's name is Rick.
And everybody rules the world.